Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Izzati Atiqah Binti Sariman. Today, me and my team from Group 4 going to present the topic of evidence objectivity. So this is the content that we're going to cover for today. So for the introduction, objectivity itself means fairness or unbiased. So in this topic, we're going to talk about a fair evidence or unbiased evidence. Evidence objectivity refers to information based on facts that can be proved by means such as analysis, measurement, and observation. In perspective of science, scientific objectivity is a characteristic of scientific claims, method, and results. It expresses the idea that the claims, method, and results of science or not should not be influenced by particular perspective, value commitments, community bias, or personal interest. Claims, method, and results can be more or less objective. The more objective, the better. Understanding scientific objectivity is therefore central to understanding the nature of science and the role it plays in society. There are two understandings in objectivity, which is product objectivity and process objectivity. The first understanding claims that science is objective in its products such as theories, laws, experimental results, and observation, which is accurate representations of the external world. The product of science are not ruled by human desires, goals, capabilities, or experience. But the second understanding, which is process objectivity, claims that science is objective in processes and methods that characterize it not based on social and ethical values nor on the individual bias of scientists.
Hi guys, my name is Siti Shafiqah and I will explain to you about my part, which is characteristics of objectivity. So, there are many characteristics of objectivity, but in this case, we will only focus on three characteristics. Okay, firstly is based on scientific facts rather than one personal opinions. Secondly is free from personal bias. And thirdly, the last one is result and data is based on continuous testing, then demonstrated or confirmed by third party. So we continue with the first explanation of the first characteristics. Okay guys, now let's go on to the explanation for the first characteristic of objectivity, which is based on scientific facts rather than one personal opinions. So what actually is scientific facts? Let me tell you, scientific facts is an objective and verifiable observation in contrast with a hypothesis or theory which is intended to explain or interpret the facts. In science, an observation that has been repeatedly confirmed and for all practical purposes is accepted as true. So, truth in science, however, is never final, and what is accepted as a fact today may be modified or even discarded for tomorrow. So we never know, right? Then, for the opinion itself, the definition is a belief or attitude about something from somewhere else that is not necessarily based on facts and personal belief that is not founded on proof or certainty. It can be based on facts or emotions, and sometimes they are meant to deliberately mislead others. Someone's opinion can be different with each other's, which it will bring argumentative and disadvantage in science context, as those who are careful readers and listeners will notice and demand evidence to support their opinions. So, that's why we prefer scientific facts rather than opinions. Second characteristics of evidence objectivity, which is free from personal bias. The definition of personal bias is an action of supporting or opposing a particular person but in an unfair way because of allowing personal opinions to influence a judgment. Okay, for example, science funded by corporation is more likely to be biased toward the interests of corporation because the corporation might have some personal reasons why they funded the science. There are many types of common personal bias in science, but we will only focus on two, which is information bias and also selection bias. Firstly, information bias. Information bias is results from poor measurement of study variables such as exposure, outcome, and also confounders. But for selection bias, it results from selection and also retention for the study population. The third characteristics of objectivity, which is results and data, is based on continuous testing, then demonstrated or confirmed by a third party. In science, scientific ideas must not only be testable, but must actually be tested, preferably with many different lines of evidence by many different people. Then, testing must be done continuously so that the experiment can be continuously changed if the scientists find anything wrong or faulty from the experiment. Results and data need to be handed to the third party as scientists want other scientists from the same field of study to review their methods and challenge their results. The outcome of the result is public and the scientific community will have confidence in their explanation after other qualified scientists have judged their work to be valid and reliable. The study of the science hence requires openness and review. Whatever information on one science collects, others must be able to see and comment upon it.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti. Okay, with me, we will go to the next subtopic, which is objective versus subjective. Subjective and objective sound very similar, right? But in fact, they mean two very different things. There are essentially descriptors for information or writing that help you decide whether there are worth 5 sources. As we know, objective refers to information that is based on factual proof. As opposed to subjective one, objective statements are backed up by fact. If someone makes an objective statement, they can show you the proof to support it. Objective statement often contain statistics that can be verified if needed. Meanwhile, for subjective, it refers to information that is based on personal opinions. Anything that is subjective will contain a personal opinions, assumption, and beliefs. You will most commonly find subjective information in newspaper editorials, blogs, and comments on the internet. If something is subjective, it is not suitable for decision making or reporting in the news. And more to add, our feelings also can be categorized as subjective because it cannot be proved by facts. Okay, now let's look at these both comparisons. In observation, objective observation are based on what we observe using our senses. We record exactly what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. Meanwhile, subjective observation are often influenced by our past events, personal experience, and opinions, and it can be biased based on our cultural background. Okay, for objective information, it is based on the facts we gather. If we do not see it, we do not report it. We report on details and provide vivid description, while subjective information is based on our opinions, assumption, personal belief, prejudice feelings, or it can be based on suspicions, rumors, and guesses. For example, we can get information about someone when we gossiping, right? Okay. Next, for results in objective are more likely to be valid and reliable from person to person. Different from subjective, results are often inconsistent and vary from person to person. Okay, now how about objective evidence and subjective evidence? Objective evidence based on provable facts. We can prove the evidence through measurement, analysis, and observation. And it is possible to evaluate and examine objective evidence. Meanwhile, subjective evidence is based on personal opinion and assumption. Plus, we cannot evaluate the evidence. In subjective evidence, we have two choices to choose, whether to accept what somebody says or we reject what he says. Okay, I have one example. Look at to the picture. There are a girl and a boy. Both of them are having terrible pain in their head, but with two different conditions. The girl on the right has objective evidence as she had injured in her head and her hand. Meanwhile, the boy on the left has subjective evidence because there is no proof that his head in pain unless he's hurt. I hope that this simple example can make you more understand of the difference between objective and subjective evidence.
Objectivity as faithfulness to facts. The first one is the view from nowhere. The contents of an individual experiences vary greatly with the individual perspective. While experiences vary, there seems to be something that remains constant. For example, the object in front of a person does not disappear just because the lights are turned off. The object is still there, but from the person's view, the object seems disappear, but both are not wrong. Same goes to the dress shown in the slide. It went viral about few years ago, I guess, where some people argue whether it is black and blue or gold and white. It turns out to be the original pictures has been edited with a higher contrast, which is some people view it as different color depends on their screen brightness as well. Next is theory-relatedness and incommensurability. Science progresses toward truth by adding true and eliminating false belief from our best scientific theories. Theory-relatedness means loaded of theory. By making this theory more and more truth-like, scientific knowledge grows over time, then it will become more objective and more faithful to the facts. Thomas S. Kuhn stresses that observations are theory-laden. The meaning of observational concept is influenced by theoretical assumption and presupposition. For example, the concept mass and length have different meaning in Newtonian and relativistic mechanics. The thesis of theory-relatedness of observation has also been extended to the incommensurability of different paradigms or scientific theories. There are two central aspects of incommensurability. First, not only do the observational concept in both theories differ, but the principle for specifying their meaning may be inconsistent with each other. Second, scientific research method and standard of evaluation change with the theories or paradigms. Not only puzzles that could be tackled in old paradigm will be solved by the new one. This phenomenon called as Kuhn laws.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Syahirah Binti Ahmad Khairi, and today I am going to explain about why objectivity is important in science. We have known that science provides a way of thinking about and solving problems in the world. So, objectivity is required to get an accurate explanation of how things work, because science's goal is to approach true explanation as closely as possible. Next, objectivity is based on facts and are free from bias or personal opinion. Scientific study is based on what we see, hear, and touch, rather than personal opinions or speculative imagining. In science, even hypotheses or ideas about how things work are written objectively. A scientific hypothesis has to be something that can be supported or rejected through experimentation or observation. Therefore, objectivity is important in science because scientific studies tend to get as close as possible to the facts, not just to prove hypotheses. Objectivity examples. First example is from CNN article with the title Coca-Cola and Pepsi contribute to nearly 200,000 deaths every year. Sugary drinks such as Coke and Pepsi kill nearly 200,000 people per year worldwide, according to a study conducted by the researchers from Tufts University and published in the journal Circulation. The numbers are based on prior studies showing that sugar consumption can lead to heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Second example is the marriage counselor. He said to the couple, "Of course, I have never been married. That's how I maintain my objectivity." So, from what we can see from the examples of objectivity is that the first example show the researchers conduct a research to prove that drinking sugary drinks can lead to heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Every researcher that did the same study also has the same results. So it proved that the studies have the objectivity. Another example is a marriage counselor. He can maintain his objectivity about marriage because he has no experience in marriage, so he can give counseling based on facts only. Results lead to new knowledge. It is important to analyze and consider all data regardless of what anyone personally believes about a scientific topic, even they do not like the answers. The conclusion drawn through interpretations of the results of data analysis should be objective. It should be based on the facts of findings derived from actual data and not our own subjective or emotional values. Results are part of scientific studies where it is important to remain objective. The scientific knowledge builds on itself, where one discovery leads to another. For example, the discovery of metal detector. In 1881, Alexander Graham Bell developed the metal detector to locate the assassin's bullet in the body of President James Garfield. Then, in 1941, Joseph Kosaki made the first portable metal detector to locate the unexploded bomb during World War II, and it has been used in armies for over 50 years.
As for conclusion, evidence objectivity refers to information based on fact that can be proved by means of search like analysis, measurement, and observation. Objectivity evidence can be characterized based on scientific facts, demonstrated or confirmed by a third party, and free from personal bias. However, subjective evidence is far different from objective evidence, where it is based on personal opinion, assumption, and we cannot evaluate the evidence. The objectivity is important in science because scientific studies tend to get as close as possible to the fact, not just to prove a hypothesis. And I think that's all from us. Thank you for your attention until the end of this video, and thank you for watching. Bye!